So you guys ready to talk about Loki episode 2? Because I'm ready to talk about Loki episode 2. Happy with Motor City Nerds, and let's get into it. My blue lip, and I got my, I don't know if you guys can tell, the last time I wore this was for Speaking Of. Did anybody else think that was Agatha Harkness in the beginning of the episode at the Ren Fair? Because I kind of panicked for a second. I don't know if you can tell, but this is my witchy Stevie Nicks shawl. And then I got my blue lip, and I got my Daughters of Freya. I got all my Norse shit going today. Not all of it, I have way more. Let's just get right into it. And this is just my reaction. Speaking of Norse mythology, I liked this. They threw a lot of that in there. There was a lot of references to that, especially the little story he tells in the tent in the beginning. That's a real Norse myth. That was cool. I really did think that was going to be Agatha Harkness in the very beginning, the lady at the Ren Fair, and then I was like, shut the fuck up. Then I was like, oh no, I'm getting way too excited. I really like them showing Loki, like, working at the TVA, and I think and they really showed the TVA as the bad guys, but I'm assuming we're going to find out that the workers are just caught up in this. We're going to find out that the timekeepers are the big bad, and really the workers are kind of getting fucked, like, especially with Owen Wilson. Like, you can see more of Owen Wilson's character, and I'll get more into that in a minute, but yeah, I'm assuming that when they talk to Miss Time, the clock that popped up on his desk, and he's trying to essentially work from the inside and get as much info as he can. That's what I was taking it as, because at first I was like, he's being very complacent with this shit, and then I was like, oh no, he's not. He's being a sneak. Felt like that little clock is going to come into this a lot more, I'm assuming, because they say that's what he asks. Are you anytime that somebody says they're recording you, that's probably a bad thing. Especially when in a movie or in a show, it's probably bad. But that's what makes me think the timekeepers are going to be the big bad, and they're trying to make us really dislike the TVA, but really they're caught up in this scheme too, thinking that they are serving this all-powerful thing, but really they're getting kind of fucked too. And they kind of drop more there's more hints to that, like when he's talking to the guy with the Casey, when he talked, the guy shows him in the Infinity Stones in his desk in the first episode, when he says, I don't know, I spent my whole life behind a desk. Like, that's not supposed to be a good thing. That's a bad thing. Mobius, Owen Wilson's character, showing the jet ski magazine was, 1, adorable, 2, accurate as fuck. Jet skis are the shit. They're my favorite thing ever. I love the water, but I love jet skiing. But it was adorable. I really liked it a lot. I thought that was really well done. But like I said, that's also supposed to be like, you guys are stuck in this cycle of work day in and day out, for lack of a better term, because time is funny there. But that's not a good thing. That's sad. That's sad. And now you can see more that Owen Wilson's character, Mobius, is questioning that shit. That's why I think the lady he works with, who was like the judge at Loki's hearing, I think that she's going to end up feeling the same way by the end. And because they already announced a season 2 for Loki, right? So they're going to have to keep going with this. But yeah, I think she's going to end up being like, something's up with these timekeepers too. And it's going to flip on its head. And they're going to be like, yeah, I think that the Time Variant Authority is just a pawn that we're made to think is the big bad, but really we're going to end up finding out that the timekeepers are bad, and them being stuck like this isn't good, and blah, blah, blah. I feel like they did a really good job, and I know it's dumbing it down, and I know that's what a lot of hardcore comic book people have an issue with, is when people have to have it dumbed down, but when you film something, it is totally different than reading it, and I thought they did a very good job explaining a Nexus event and how that works, how a branch timeline can break off and make alternate realities, and then once we start getting alternate timelines, that's a problem, because these alternate timelines will mess up the main timeline. And I just thought that they did that in a very good, quick, and easy way to understand. Same thing with them, like I said last week, doing the Jurassic Park cartoon watching thing with explaining the timeline. I thought that was just a very smart, easy, good way to go about it. So once these branches go out and they start happening, eventually, if it gets so bad, the TVA, the Time Variant Authority, won't be able to fix it. End goal for Loki right now is to sit down with the timekeepers. And so that's what makes me think, yeah, you keep really pushing, like, even when they went to the store, and one of them, they're called Minutemen, right? Like, the officers, and he said, they're like, oh no, we have women and children here, and he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, that, I was like, whoa, bud, that was rough. But then I understood, they're really trying to hammer home that they are bad, but they're stuck at these jobs. They don't have a choice. And anytime any character has no choice and no free will, like Loki keeps bringing up, that's normally a negative is. I'm saying I think they really want us looking at these Minutemen and Owen Wilson's character and his affiliates as the bad guys, but really they're not bad guys. They're stuck in this game too. Just another way to keep them in line, essentially, is telling them this stuff about timekeeping, and if this happens, this will happen, and if not, everything will end. And it's like, but will it? I really liked when Loki explained the difference between actually changing into somebody else and projecting an image that looks like somebody else. I thought that was really cool. That means it's going to come back. But did anybody else remember the theory people had that really Loki turned into the Hulk in Infinity War? I thought that they were making a joke on that when they had like the Hulk version of Loki pop up, and I thought that was very funny and like a shot at everybody online, and I appreciate that. I think that's funny. I said this about Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen in WandaVision. Oh, and my girl Catherine Hahn. I know I said this about them, but once again, Tom Hiddleston is great in this. Outside of being a superhero, outside of it being fun, Marvel, yada, 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 he's genuinely really great. So is everybody is, but so is Owen Wilson, and the chemistry they have is amazing, and I just love that, and I really love their relationship. Like I said, it gives me True Detective for Kids vibes, and I like it a lot. We have these two very opposite, opposing people that are stuck as partners, and it's like they already said it was going to be like a buddy cop thing, but it's not. It's a little more than that, and I like it a lot, and I really think that the acting in this is amazing. That also means that the writing is amazing, the directing is amazing, everything about this show. I think this is the best one so far out of WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki. And we're only on episode 2, and I feel like Loki has been above the rest for sure. When they start figuring things out about apocalypses and all that, and they go to Pompeii, I thought that was genuinely funny. I was actually laughing. The first time I watched it, I've watched it 3 times. But I watched it on the line at work, but I watched it on my tablet, and so it's not like I could really, really hardcore pay attention, but I was genuinely laughing, and then Dave across from me thinks I'm a crazy person. And I know that this is setting up secret wars and everything, but I'm not trying to get into all that. I'm not. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. I want my channel to be for everybody, and we can all like stuff. You don't have to know every little thing and every little Easter egg, and oh my god, did you see them walk to the left? That means Mephisto's coming. If one more person talks to me about fucking Mephisto, I'm gonna lose my shit. I've been saying from day fucking 1 that Mephisto ain't coming. Oh, whoops, sorry if you heard that. Mephisto ain't coming. I said it back in my WandaVision episodes. I was like, I don't know why everybody keeps cramming Mephisto down people's throats. Mephisto ain't coming. Back to what I was saying. I just want everybody to be able to enjoy things, and we can all talk about them. You don't have to know every little thing. I know that they're setting up for Secret Wars. I'm not getting into that right now. I'm really sorry for punching my microphone a minute ago. Pompeii scene, though, I genuinely thought it was funny. Once again, the chemistry between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston is great. Super awesome. Super fun. After they figure that out, and we get farther into the episode, when they go to the store in the hurricane. It's a hurricane, right? Not a tornado. I don't know why I thought tornado for a minute. In the hurricane, that got creepy. That got really, really creepy. It got really creepy and scary for sure. This is getting like horror film vibes. And when they were doing the zap into the brain and different people were talking, that I don't like possessed stuff. That creeps me out. That was well done. It was creepy. I liked it a lot, but I got hardcore horror film vibes the second that happened. And I think that's why I keep saying True Detective, because it's not just how they act with each other. I'm like, oh my god, this gets very disturbing. We get the fight scene, and all different people are getting possessed, and they're all coming at our Loki, and then we get the reveal of the female Loki. Now, I like that. That's cool. I did not think I knew we were getting a female Loki. I didn't think we were going to get her this early. And I didn't think they'd give her Thor vibes, like the blonde hair and stuff, which I'm cool with, but I just didn't think we were going to get her this early, which I'm here for. I was wondering why, kind of out of nowhere, well, it wasn't out of nowhere, but Marvel and Disney announced that Loki was a gender fluid character, that's fine. But now I'm like, oh, you're setting this up in case, and Chuck brought this up, in case you make female Loki the main Loki. And it can go anyway, and which I'm cool with that, but whatever. I mean, I was like, why do we need to announce that? And then I was like, oh no, that makes total sense. Because you want people to start looking at these characters like you can flip-flop in and out, but either way, cool. Then we find out that she's been snatching up all those reset devices and sets them off. And then that's when we see on the little tablets, we see all the branches start to come out. And that means we're going to get some alternate fucking timelines going. And now this makes total sense. And I'm like, I knew where it was going. I was just like, oh, okay. I think we're going to end up finding out maybe things don't come to an end, kind of like it's okay to have alternate realities. Is there anybody who's read The Dark Tower out there, the entire series? I fucking love The Dark Tower. That shit's insane. But that's also, never mind, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But I've been used to multiverse, other dimension shit for a very long time, and I just know that, I honestly, out of everything that does it, comics, books, whatever, The Dark Tower is untouchable. Shit is nuts, and I love it. Back to the branches. So now we're going to be able to get all these different Lokis. I think our Loki and Owen Wilson, and eventually that woman that Owen Wilson works with, is going to find out maybe we don't have to clip all these branches. Maybe we aren't stuck in this mundane life doing these jobs. Maybe it will be okay. I think that's what's going to happen here. A little anecdote though. The other day, my buddy Donnie, who was on my channel, comes over. I'm standing in the kitchen talking to my sister. And she says, I think I'm going to start watching that Loki series with my boyfriend. Now, my sister isn't super into this stuff like we are. My mom jumps up in the other room and yells so loud that Donnie jumps. He was so startled. And she comes around the corner and she gets in my sister's face, and the whole time she's yelling. Oh my gosh. My sister said something along the lines of, I've watched some of the newer ones like Black Panther, and my mom goes, what do you know about Black Panther? She's like, this is what you need to know. Loki did, and she starts spitting out mad Loki knowledge. And I was like, okay, you were asking me a question about this like 20 minutes ago and now you're spitting out mad knowledge about multiverses and shit, Mom. Well, I don't know if any of you have watched the series, not the movie, the series, Dark Shadows from the 60s with Jonathan Frid. It's a soap opera about it's fucking crazy, but there's like 10 million episodes, and my mom, we've showed it on here before, my mom has the entire collection, and we all watched it. She forced it down our throats when we were kids. It is like a marvel to think about. They did every show live, but that's a whole other thing. Go look up Dark Shadows from the 60s, and there's some funny-ass bloopers. But she's like, remember this season where they go back in time, and they find their doppelganger, and yada, 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 and if they don't get back, this will happen. And I was like, oh my God. You're 100% correct. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Dark Shadows. It's Dark Shadows all over again. Just a little different. I was cracking up though, because it's like, I know my mom, I've said it before, don't test my mom. She knows her MCU. But that shit was funny. And I was like, I knew you knew it, but like, what? Whoa, you just went on a sermon about this shit. Yeah, all in all, I thought this was a really good episode. It wasn't like, it worked perfectly for going, let's go. Like, let's get to the point and move our asses to the big shit. And I really appreciate that, because I appreciate it when something moves its ass and doesn't drag and make me feel like it's a chore to watch it. That's what I mean comparing it to WandaVision. WandaVision was great, but there was some stuff in it, and I know that the pandemic affected a lot of WandaVision. I do know that. But there were parts of it where I was like, man, do we really, I'm kind of, not bored. I don't want to say bored, because I wasn't bored, but it was just like, can we move it a little bit? Feel that way at all with Loki. This episode in particular, like I said, each episode is, we only have 2 so far, but they move, but they do a very good job of packing a ton of information into this short amount of time. And I don't mind female Loki. Is that like a big deal? I don't know if people are crying about that or not. I cry about everything now. Like, you can't talk, everybody's crying. But yeah, I'm super stoked about it. I really do. I think that, I know I keep saying this, but this is the best one. I think this is the best one yet. Like, it really really is great and fun. And I know other ones were the MCU, but no, this is like, no, we're back in the fucking MCU. Let's do it. Me and Mom are going to get into it more in detail, and I'll have that up tomorrow probably. I'm going to do my Falcon and Winter Soldier video alone, because I've had, the past month has been a lot. A lot. If you name it, I know Mercury's in retrograde, and I don't know if any of you believe in that shit, but fuck, man. Everything has been, it's been rough. Into detail on another video, but then I had, nobody else passed away, but my dad passed away when I was super young, and my uncle was his best friend. I'm my mom's brother, that's how they met, and that's who raised me. That's essentially my dad. So he went in for an extremely rare, extremely serious surgery. It all went good. He's recovering now. Hi, Uncle Tom, I love you. But that was a lot. Then a huge storm tore through Michigan, and our dock flipped over, and I talked about this. And then a tree fell into my fucking racist neighbor's fucking cabin. But yeah, it's just been one thing after another. It was death, death, death. Then I had actually a wedding that was very lovely and fun. And then I did have a concert too. That was pretty fun. But then the surgery and all this other stuff, then the doc, and then Mom was gone. But yeah, we are going to do Loki. I'm going to do Falcon and Winter Soldier alone and just recap the entire series, because I do think it might not be the best one for the MCU, but I do think that was the most important series they've done so far. I will say that. And they didn't shy away from shit, which I appreciate. But yeah, I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me a lot. And I know I said this in my other video, but in case you didn't watch it, I have two dinguses that have a real problem with me doing this. I don't understand it. They're fucking crazy. I grew up with them, but they reported all my shit. So if anything disappears or you can't find it for a couple days, bear with me, because I got two turds being turds.